Good morning, everybody. Mute that radio. Thank you for stopping by the Campers Web this morning. As you can see in the background, we're at the ocean. What we're doing, it's low tide right now, and we're driving on out to a favorite spot of mine to go rake the floor of this ocean for some little neck clams. The hope is that we'll be filling up a basket in a short amount of time, and then we'll take them back, steam them later on today, and show you how we're planning on serving them for our dinner. So it's a beautiful morning. Temperature on my truck says 69 degrees. So I'll be suiting up, be taking that video later on, and hopefully show you how these clams go from on the ocean floor to on our dinner plate. And I'm going to switch over here. There's a boat that washed ashore. We've had a couple of storms recently, nothing too severe, so it's odd that boat would have washed ashore. So I'm going it alone this morning. Heidi's off doing a couple of other projects today, and so I'm going to be using the GoPro. So once I do get in the water, you probably won't be able to hear very much. I'm going to put it into the waterproof container, so I'll do another intro when I get to the ocean front before I start going in the water. So I'll talk to you soon. Just a quick little update here, guys. So we have a very, very proactive, very easy to work with shellfish and marine resources officer here in town, and they keep a close watch on who's raking up shellfish, little necks, and so on. So they have some coves here in town that are open, and they have some coves here in town that are closed. Sometimes those coves can be side by side, and it's a little confusing. So I went down to where I was going, and there are some signs up. I interpreted them a certain way, but I saw they could be interpreted a different way, so I just wanted to be sure that I was legal. So I went over, I had passed our marine resources officer on the way here, and I just turned around. It's maybe a half a mile away. I turned around, just went, had a nice chat with him, and confirmed where I'm going is open. So they here in town, they do watch everything very closely. They keep things right on the up and up, and I think the Marine Resources Department does a fantastic job here in town. So we're just another minute away. Bumpy road, so I'm gonna probably be bouncing all over the place. Yeah. So we'll be getting set up, and I'll have one more video, and we'll be out there raking. Alright folks, we're here. So I'm going to walk over here, and I'm going to show you some of the signs that are up. So that sign is pretty clear, and that cove directly in front of us is the one that is closed. I'm going to pan over here to the left. You see a narrow piece of land right here, and you'll see another cove there. That cove is open, as deep as I can walk. So we have an option today between that cove or the one over here behind the weeds. Either one of them is opened. I confirmed that with the resource officer. Depends on where I want to go and what the pickings are like. So I'm going to get suited up in my waders, and we'll be out there in a minute or two. All right, we are suited up. So I have my waders on. Not necessary to wear waders. I like to have the heavy foot protection because there are some sharp shells and so on in there. And the waders just keep me dry. These are old waders. They leak. I'm going to get wet anyway, but I won't be totally soaked. You don't need any special equipment for clothing when you're going out to do this. I'm only going to be up to my waist at the deepest part. Hopefully a lot more shallow than that. So a lot of people will just come down here with bathing suits, barefoot. You can do that. Like I said, though, the shells are sharp. And once in a while I run into a couple of angry blue crabs. Also here, I have my rake with its wire basket and my basket. Attached to the basket, I keep a measuring gauge. If the shellfish can fit through here, they're too small and we have to throw them back. License, hat, we're ready to go. Hey everybody, so I'm done, changed clothes out in the backyard. The backyard's a mess. Got the camper in the back of the shot anyway. So basically here we are. I filled up the basket. This is a P-E-C-K size basket of little necks, variety of sizes. You can see this little tiny one does not fit through the ring, so it is legal. So some people like the small ones, say they're sweeter, say they taste better. Some people always want this medium-sized one. The larger ones I always find to be a little tough. And there's a variety of ways that we're going to eat these. One of the ways that we're going to show you right now involves this. This or this. I actually like this one a lot better. And this. So, if we're ready, we're going to start with a small one. Fairly sharp knife. You got to be very careful with these because sometimes the shell will slip and the knife can come off and cut your fingers. And you want to find a weak spot. Basically, I put the knife in there and I'll squeeze down gently. If I feel the shell breaking, you can see the shell didn't break. That was a perfect one. The knife went between it. And I'm just going to continue cutting all the way down. Thumbnail in there, between the knife and my thumbnail, prying this guy open. And there it is. And then I'll just take the same knife and remove all of this meat. I want to keep that moisture in there. That's seawater. Don't get any fresher than this, believe me. Now, you don't have to do this stuff, by the way, I just happen to like it. A couple of drops. I'll show you a couple of drops to me. That's a couple of drops to me. Cheers. Awesome. And making her YouTube debut, the one who's normally behind the scenes, here's Heidi.
Hey, how are y'all? So now it's my turn. If I can do this without cutting off my fingers, it'll be a blessing.
I apologize if the video isn't perfect. It's the GoPro. We don't have the screen. We do have a nice microphone for it though.
Alright, here we go. I've already poked myself in the thumb.
You can use that butter knife too to pry because it's a lot stronger.
Oh, there we go.
There you go. And while Heidi's doing this, I'll just point out a couple of things. So not a lot of people do like these this way. If you went into a restaurant, this would be called little necks on the half shell or little necks raw. They do sell them in the restaurant just this way. The ones in the restaurant are a little watery. They're definitely nowhere near as fresh as these. And Heidi's occasionally a squeamish eater. And these things, as you can see, look a little gross.
But they sure do taste good.
Exactly. And these were in the ocean, on the ocean floor, about 15-20 minutes ago. So the ones you're going to get in a restaurant or in a store, they've been on ice for a while. They've been
frozen.
Yeah, you never know how fresh they are. They're not fresh. So Heidi has it all loosened up, and she did a better job on cleaning it up than I did.
Yummy. All right.
Like I said, she's a little squeamish of an eater. Not bad, getting much better. Ask us about cow heart, sorry.
Delicious.
And we're gonna have to do a video on that too. We have another cow heart in the freezer. Nice. And here we go.
Cheers.
All right, well, hold your horses. So what we're gonna do, we're probably gonna have a couple more of those, and we're probably gonna have a beer. And we have a pot of water in the house heating up right now, because the next thing is we're gonna take a bunch of these, throw them in the pot of water, and we're gonna boil them, steam them, whatever you want to call them. They're gonna open up. They're gonna be terrific. Our dog's barking at us. He wants some attention too. So we'll see you in a little bit. See you in a little bit.
See you in a little bit.
Hey folks. So I've changed my shirt. I'm dried off finally. I took off my hat. I'm going to tell you the story about that hat in a little while. So a lot of people don't like those raw, so the only real other way to process the little necks is drop them in boiling water until they open up. And you can see that one there is kind of bloated. That's still got a lot of salt water inside of it. Here's another one. These have been boiled. Takes about 10 or 15 minutes. The problem with them is the larger ones, like this one, they get a little chewy. So a lot of times these will be chopped up. Clams over pasta, these would be fantastic for it. You drop them in a food processor, chop them up. They look horrible. They look pretty nasty when they're chopped up, but they taste out of this world good. You can eat these. They've been just dropped in boiling water. So I got a small one here. Still have a delicious, fresh, salty flavor to them. Like I said, these just came out of the water a short time ago. The shell goes in my garden. That's calcium. So to keep the water boiling, I only boil 10, 12, 15 at a time because these are cold. So having said that, when I remove my pan here, you'll see I have a little bit of work to do this afternoon. So here we go. And what we're going to do later on tonight, we're going to make these over some fresh vegetables that are going to be, I'm not sure if they're going to be raw or steamed. Heidi's got plans for that. We're going to put a bunch of these in a freezer bag and freeze them for the future. We're going to eat a lot of them tonight, so I'm going to get to work and I'll see you in a little bit. Alright, here we are. So, still steaming away. Got a long ways to go. I'm a little bit beyond halfway through the basket. So, I'm going to tell you the story of the hat. Put the hat back on. So what we do is, we're removing the little necks from the shell and just put them in this steel bowl. Got to be careful because these just came out of the pan, so they can be hot. You got to let them cool off. The beauty about little necks is, when they're done, they pop open. And sometimes they pop open and the meat just falls right out. So this one I just pulled out of the pan. The meat fell out, still in the pan. So around half of this bowl is adequate for Heidi and I for a meal. So what we're going to do, we have some in the refrigerator for tonight. I'm going to show you our creation later. The rest we're going to boil up. Once I get half a bowl of this, I'm going to put them in a Ziploc baggie and freeze them for some other day. So a couple of things. So the smaller ones tend to not be tough. Tough meaning tough to eat. On the larger ones, and I'm hoping I'm going to be able to find one, when you get these things, if they're still stuck in the shell, you can see that still stuck there. You'll see, I hope you can see this round piece right here. That's a pretty strong muscle, and that is one of the leading causes of these things being tough. And by tough, I mean tough for you to eat. And they get stuck between the teeth and everything. So if you're trying to get one of these guys out of here and it's fighting you, well, that one didn't fight me that much, it just broke free. Sometimes what'll happen is there'll be that muscle still attached to the shell, and people will take a knife and try and get that out of there. Just leave it. It's not worth the aggravation. Just take your shell, throw it in the garden. If you don't have a garden, throw it in the trash. See if your neighbor has a garden. They're really decent for the garden. Just toss them in and they get rototilled up. So if you get one that's fighting you and it's not coming out of the shell and it leaves a little bit of it behind, leave it behind. All right, so I'll finish these up and hat story. That's right. Highland Games in New Hampshire. We go there. It's a camping trip and it's in September. we went out there and it was really hot, very, very hot. I didn't have a hat. I wanted a hat, so I bought the one that you see on my head. And it's nice because it has snaps, so in the event that it rains, it funnels the rain away, or I could snap it up into place. It's a lightweight hat, so it's not really hot. It has vent holes, hope you can see that, all the way around, so it almost cools your head off as you're wearing it. Keeps the sun off your head, keeps the sun out of your face. It's great. I love the hat. You can see that it's all torn up now in a variety of places because we had a dog who was new to us. We still have him, and the dog got a hold of the hat and shredded it. I kind of found it a little funny, and I basically said to Heidi, we have to go back to the Highland Games. I'll get another one of these hats. There it came from and means a little bit to me. So we went back and I got this one, this nice tan one. Same style, got the vents, really nice hat. And within a week, same dog. So I actually found it funny. I don't mind. The hat still works, does its intended job. And we decided we're going to keep the dog. So that's the hat story. I have other hats. I'll tell you some more hat stories in some other videos, but I have to get back to the stove because it may be boiling over right now, and that would be a bad thing. Hey everyone. So this is the little necks after they've been steamed, sitting in a generous, copious amount of butter. This is how we prefer them. Butter goes fantastic with these. So what we're looking at here are the little necks. These were not put in butter. They were just steamed and removed from the shell. We lay them on a cookie sheet. We then cover the cook. We put aluminum foil on it, obviously, and then we freeze them until they're frozen solid. After that, we'll put them in a Ziploc baggie, and they're in the freezer and good for about 6 months. And this is Heidi's dinner creation. You can see broccoli, Brussels sprouts, green beans, carrots. These were all steamed. Little necks were put on top of them, and we covered them with quite a bit of butter, and it was fantastic. So thank you for watching the video. Hope you found that entertaining. Maybe you learned something. Leave us some comments. Let us know what you think so far. And we have some very loud little baby chicks here. So if you hear the background noise, that's what it is. Thank you. Hope to see you soon.